Good day. Our group consists of 5 members: Flora Afrikaner, Johanna Durant, Emilia Frans, Sharnay Hammerslag-Klute, and Renee Stein. Our PBL topic name is IC, and this presentation today will explain more about what our topic is, how it looks like, and how it solves the problem we identified. During our research, we discovered that reading abilities of learners are deteriorating over the years. We found a video on YouTube that said that South Africa was ranked last in the reading abilities between 50 countries, and the same problem we found to occur in Namibia's schools. They mostly believe that this is due to lack of resources and that these children start to learn in their original African home language, and then by the age of 10, 11, when they reach grade 4, they have to start learning in English, and this is where the problem starts. We found that a lot of learners experience reading and comprehension problems that result in lower performance compared to their actual potential. These problems occur in all subject areas, and it causes performance difficulties. Our research project is aimed to aid teachers and parents with practical do-it-yourself methods in helping learners that might have reading and comprehension problems as a result of visual stress and left eye dominancy. Our research is not clinical, as people who have been prescribed these color-tinted lenses are often told that they have island syndrome, also known as visual stress. However, neither the World Health Organization or the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders lists island syndrome or visual stress as a recognized disorder.
22 minutes before 7 o'clock here on Morning Live. Now, let's just focus our attention a little bit to something very worrying, of course. South Africa has been ranked last in reading of the 50 participating countries in international comparison studies that measured literacy levels between 2011 and 2016. This is according to the Progress in International Reading Literacy Study, PEARL's report that was released on Tuesday. Now, the literacy crisis here at home in South Africa is far worse than previously thought, with the discovery that 78% of grade 4 learners are unable to read. Joining us now is Professor Mary Metcalf. She's former MEC for Education here in Gauteng, and she's currently with the University of Johannesburg as a Senior Research Associate. Prof, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Felicia.
Now, you and I were having a conversation off air about this report, but let's just get your views on the report. Did it really surprise you?
It always disappoints, and we always hope that we're doing better. But I think it's a very good opportunity for the country to sit back and say what's going wrong, because our young people deserve better, and if we don't get it right by grade 4, it means that we are undermining their ability to achieve their potential, which the country needs, because it's our greatest resource going forward, is the talent, the intelligence of our people.
And you were also telling me off air about the importance of this grade 4, because that's where learners actually start to do different subjects with different teachers. Talk to us about that grade, the importance of that grade.
Okay, so the situation in South African schools is that all learners begin school learning in the language that they're familiar with, which is correct.
Yes.
If they're going to change their medium of instruction, they need to learn the language they're going to learn in. So for the majority of South African learners, particularly those in rural areas, semi-urban areas, they will start off in a home language, which is usually an African language. They learn to read in the African language while they learn English as a second language, and generally they transition to English in grade 4. So you move from the foundation phase where you've had a single teacher into grade 4, where suddenly it's a wider curriculum, more teachers usually, reliance on textbooks, and you're learning in English which you haven't learned in before. So what these results tell us is that by the time our learners in grade 4 need to be able to read, to understand in order to learn, they don't yet have sufficient reading for comprehension.
Sure.
And it's the for comprehension that's important.
Sure. Now, you make mention of learners in the rural areas, and the report really talks about the children, of course, who live in your rural areas, in your townships, that they have the lowest reading literacy scores. 23 years later into democracy, our education policies, are they not addressing this efficiently?
So education policies, there's such a range, but if we focus on education policies around reading, what is very good about this report is it isn't just a report card that says we failed. It looks at reading comprehension and it relates it to context. So it relates how is this child doing in reading relative to safety and security at school, relative to the availability of books at school, relative to the availability of books at home, relative to how hungry they are, relative to bullying. So it puts reading in context, that there's a variety of issues related to school functioning, resources, and well-being, and home life that impact on reading. Now that's important because it helps us with understanding where we need.
The problem we have identified is that a lot of learners do not read at the rate that they should and also have very little comprehension of what they are reading. This problem is not caused due to vision impairment, but rather the way learners read and comprehend what they are reading.
Another problem as identified in the research of Dr. Melody de Jager is specifically a left eye dominant learner. This dominancy makes it difficult for learners to cope with the reading direction Namibians follow, which is from left to right. This results in losing your place while reading, switching of letters, numbers, and fluctuations in the reading process. As a teacher, you may find that sometimes your learners may need the assistance of a ruler or their finger when reading to help keep them in place. And it's also important to note that the switching of letters and numbers is not linked to dyslexia and dyscalculia. Furthermore, these types of visual problems that learners experience are not clinical enough to diagnose as a disorder, and most of the time go unidentified throughout their lives. The driving question for our PBL project was that how can we enhance reading speed, accuracy, and comprehension for learners? We had 3 sub-questions, which were as follows: how light sensitivity influences the duration of reading, how eye dominancy influences accurate reading, and the effect that different colors have on reading speed and comprehension. Research carried out for our PBL project is based on applied research as we try to solve particular real-life problems and create solutions for future problems. The methods used for the applied research were surveys, interviews, experimental research, as well as action research.
Firstly, we did an inquiry by giving out questionnaires to learners ranging between the ages of 14 to 18 years. In these questionnaires, we asked them basic questions like, do they have any vision impairments, do they wear glasses, how much time did they spend on reading each day. Secondly, we gave a set of questionnaires to teachers. We also did interviews with these teachers. We made sure that these teachers had 10 to 30 years experience at least, and we asked them if they believe that the reading ability of learners were deteriorating over the past few years, and they all said that they believed there was a problem with reading accuracy, speed, and comprehension. After the questionnaires, we developed an experiment so that we could test whether color-tinted lenses had an influence on the reading ability of learners. We gave them a passage consisting of 100 words and gave them 30 seconds to read this passage. That means that they had to read 200 words per minute. The learners really struggled in completing this task in time, and we found that a lot of learners read better with the color tinted lenses on, and we didn't let them wear this color tinted lenses in any particular order. So sometimes they've started to read with them, and sometimes they started to read without them. So there was no particular order, and the learners felt that these color tinted lenses help. We also developed experiments to counteract the effect that the left eye dominancy has on the reading process, and learners wore the dominancy glasses, which they had to exercise each day to counteract the effect of this left eye dominancy. Here are a few images of just some of the learners that carried out the experiment. All the learners did this experiment voluntarily. What did we find in our research and experiments? We found that learners who used the dominancy reading glasses to read a few pages per day had marginally less switching around of letters and numbers and could read faster as a result of this. We also found that some learners seemed to react well to the colored glasses and seemed to focus better when using the yellow lens. They also felt that the blue lens was not as effective as the yellow lens. 6.7% of learners tested felt that the colored lens had a negative effect on their reading ability. 20% felt that it made no difference, and 73.3% felt that they were more focused and processed what they read better with the colored lenses on.
This inquiry informed our decision to choose the PBL product or solution. We have found that a lot of learners are experiencing colored visual stress when it comes to reading information or text on a white paper. This in turn affects their reading speed, their reading accuracy, as well as understanding the text that they are reading, which refers to their comprehension.
Okay, so here are the results of the questionnaires given to the teachers, and 100% of these teachers that filled in these questionnaires felt that learners' reading ability was deteriorating over the past 10 to 30 years. The next circle diagram is just an indication of whether the children could read 200 words per minute, and 81% of the learners that did this test couldn't, and 19% could. The diagram shows the effect that the tinted lenses had on the reading ability of the learners. 6.7% of the learners felt that the tinted lenses worsened their reading ability. One of these learners also has a reading condition disorder, and she is partially blind, so that also had an influence, and she felt that it worsened her reading ability. 20% felt that the tinted lenses didn't really have an effect on their reading ability, and 73.3% felt that the tinted lenses actually improved their reading ability. Our PBL product is practical aids that assist with visual processing that is cost effective and provides informative visual information. You can even make these products at home. It's DIY. So why did we do this? We feel that visual processing is becoming a problem amongst learners, and learners do not read as much since television was invented, and this causes reading problems and learning difficulties.
Which color is right for me? This is extra information just to show the learners and the teachers that different colors have different effects. Gray tints help to improve true color perception as well as reduce fatigue and glare. Amber is all good purpose sunglass tint because it enhances contrast. Pink, rose or red, these help to reduce eye strain, improve depth perception, road visibility and aid in contrast adjustment. Blue tints help to reduce glare and enhance color perception. Blue has also been said to have a calming effect for those with anxiety or specifically visual stress.
Okay, the green tints help improve visual sharpness. It also promotes calmness and improves efficiency and focus. Yellow tinted glasses provide additional sharpness and contrast to your field. Purple tints balance color perception and provide contrast against green backgrounds, and orange tints enhance contrast and depth perception.
Our PBL product will be packaged in a box with 2 sets of glasses, a brochure, and an exercise sheet. The brochure will give clear instructions on how to do it yourself, the 2 sets of glasses. The one set is for visual stress, which will have color-tinted sheets. With the help of the teacher, she will identify which color suits the child perfectly and which will enhance their reading. And according to that, the learner will then cut out the color-tinted sheets and cover the lens of the glasses with those. With the dominancy glasses, you will use the black masking tape to entirely cover the left lens of the glasses. The brochure also gives extra information on what our product is and what the problem is that we have identified learners of having. The exercises that will be included will help to improve reading speed, accuracy, as well as comprehension. The PBL product was also handed in at the Codel office.
These two pictures are examples of the glasses of our product. Left we have the dominancy eyeglass and right we have the color tinted lenses. The next two slides is the example of our brochure that is included in our product that was submitted at the Codel office. This last slide is an example of the exercises that are also included in our product. The research problem we identified was about the reading ability of learners. We felt that learners do not read at the speed they should, they do not read with the correct accuracy and comprehension. We believe our product will help solve this problem, as the dominancy glasses enhances reading speed and assist with reading direction, making the accuracy of the reading better. The colored lenses seem to help learners focus better and read faster with better comprehension. We believe our products will benefit learners, teachers, and parents, and the entire community as a whole. It can be used in the classrooms while doing tests, assignments, or even at home while doing homework, doing additional reading, so it can mostly be used anywhere. Our product will be available in do-it-yourself packages, which will include instructions on how to make these products at home. These packages will also be available to purchase at certain retail shops, and it can be ordered online. How did we benefit from this project? This project opened a whole new view on visual stress. It provided information that we were not aware of previously and broadened our knowledge of how to identify such learners as well as to help them overcome their problems. What did we learn? We learned that there are many factors that play a role in reading abilities and that different factors influence each individual in a different way. First 21st century skills that we developed while doing this PBL project was communication. We did public speaking, we did communicating while using digital media. We engaged in conversations and discussions with group members and effective listening, which was important during these discussions. We also did collaboration. So we had to learn to plan well and organize and collaborate using digital media. And we learned how to do responsive and constructive feedbacks. While doing this project, we had to do a lot of critical thinking. We had to analyze the ideas and knowledge, do strategic thinking, inductive and deductive reasoning. We had constructive arguments in our group's reasoning, and we also did problem solving. We had to identify a problematic situation, and then we had to find a suitable solution for this problem. To be able to do this project, you had to do a lot of creative thinking. So we had a lot of idea generation. We had to use our imagination, be innovative and open, and have a lot of courage to explore. And eventually we designed a product, a unique product together. We also used a lot of technology and media skills. We created video, we used a lot of social media, we collaborated on Moodle, had a lot of interaction there, and we did a PowerPoint presentation. In conclusion, we have found that a lot of learners are experiencing colored visual stress when it comes to reading information or text on a white paper, which affects their reading speed, reading accuracy, as well as their comprehension. This visual stress also relates to difficulties in their overall performance in all other subjects and does not give an accurate evaluation of their true potential to learning. Okay, so the recommendations we have is we believe we should have gotten more time to do the research. Time was very limited between the PBL plan being approved and submitting the PBL presentation and report. Thorough research for our project should have been plus minus 6 months, and there is still a lot of aspects we could improve on.